Welcome to the Safety and Risk Success podcast with me, Christian Harris. Today, we're diving into something that sits right at the heart of the profession, doesn't get nearly enough attention: how we support the next generation of safety leaders and how we open the door for people who want a first start or a fresh start in our field. You'll know from your own experience, or maybe from the messages you get on LinkedIn, that breaking into safety can be incredibly tough. You're told you need experience, but you can't get experience without being given a chance. For many people, that catch-22 is the biggest barrier to joining an industry that desperately needs new talent. That's why I'm thrilled to be joined today by Kev Robbins and Ben Pollard, the founders of a new not-for-profit social enterprise called the Safety Net Foundation. Their mission is simple but powerful: to create structured, supported pathways into health and safety, combining mentoring, soft skills development, real-world experience, and partnerships with charities and organizations who need help but don't have the resources. In the episode, we talk about why they built the foundation, how it differs from existing mentoring schemes, the role of soft skills in developing competent and capable practitioners, and the very real challenges facing people trying to establish themselves in the profession. We also explore their big vision for the next 5 years and how all of us, individuals, employers, consultancies, and recruiters, can play a part. If you care about the future of our profession, this is a conversation you won't want to miss.
Welcome to the Safety and Risk Success podcast with Christian Harris. We believe that proactive safety and risk management powers business performance. Each week, we explore this theme, sharing guests, stories, insights, trends, hints, and tips. You can find us on all the major podcasting platforms, and video versions are available on YouTube. But for now, let's join the conversation with Christian.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining today's Safety Roundtable. Got two great guests with us today who are going to be talking about a really interesting, exciting, worthwhile, valuable topic, and we will allow them to introduce themselves in a minute. As always, really want this session to be interactive, so thanks for joining if you're with us live on Zoom. If you want to come and have a chat with the guys, ask any questions, give some comments, then we'd be really happy for you to do that. I will, as always, monitor the chat as well, though, so let's see if we can make this a nice interactive session about this really important topic. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to say welcome to Ben and to Kev. I think to start with, maybe for those that don't know you guys, could you just give us a quick background? Kev, you're first on the screen as I look. So do you want to go first and just give a quick synopsis to your background?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks. So hi everyone, I'm Kev Robbins. Been in health and safety for about 12, coming on 13 years now. Like most people, that doesn't tend to be that first career choice. Worked in construction predominantly for most of that, health and safety consultancy, working for contractors as well. And I work for a global organisation called Stantec at the moment, which is like a multi-disc engineering consultancy. And yeah, since the last few months, we've been working in the background with the Safety Net Foundation.
Good stuff, and we'll get into that. Obviously, that's why we're here, so we'll get into that in a lot of detail in a minute. Ben, do you want to just give a quick intro to yourself?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, again, typical, similar to Kev. My first route or my first career wasn't health and safety. I was actually a dry cleaner, if you can imagine that or believe that. So that was sort of my first career at the ripe old age of 21. And then I fell into health and safety after I'd sort of sold that business due to sort of personal reasons, and fell into health and safety at an M&E company that I was working for, purely based on a system that I'd built in Excel that monitored the compliance of equipment that needed to be monitored. So I was fortunate enough to catch the attention of the health and safety manager there, who then offered me the opportunity to do my qualifications and get into health and safety, which then led to working at Skanska on their facility side, then a consultancy alongside Kev, and now my current role for a multi-disc consultancy called Calford Seaton, where we predominantly focus on construction or health and safety within the construction industry. So yeah, that's my route.
Nice, nice. It's amazing how many people kind of fall into safety, isn't it? I was knocked into safety, as you guys may know from a speeding car, but it's good as well that more people nowadays, I think, are looking at safety as a sort of career of choice, and starting on that role, and I know that kind of ties into what we're going to be talking a little bit about today. So we're here to talk about the Safety Net Foundation. So quite simply, what is it, and why did you guys create it? Why did you come up with this idea? Was there a particular kind of light bulb moment, or was it sort of just a long process? How did that all come about?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, in different sort of forms in their own background, like me personally, I've always done, probably for about 7 or 8 years, health and safety in terms of volunteering and doing voluntary sort of compliance, governance and health and safety support for charities. And then with mentoring as well, and that kind of side of it, just generally sort of giving back and that type of side of things. And I always felt there was a gap in some way. It's trying to tie the two together, but wasn't quite sure. That's something that I kind of parked that idea for a few years. And then me and Ben, when we sort of caught up earlier in the year, and was sort of just throwing some ideas around with just bits and pieces, that we still feel there's a bit of unfinished business that we'd like to put out into the industry, put our stamp on something, and what does that look like? And then with some sort of brainstorming and just to see what we can try and do, we thought that we put a post out. It's probably going back about 3 or 4 months now, just to try and gauge the public appetite for it as well, see if it makes sense to anyone. And that's where we then started to really finalise the concept as well, which is basically one of the sort of streams that we're looking to develop. And what we're doing is basically aspiring health and safety professionals and supporting those coming through. So whether that is their first career, as we're starting to be a lot, an increase in now, but generally it's career changes, obviously, pairing up with people from a relevant industry or maybe have relevant, relatable experience as a mentor. And then for those people that are constantly getting the door shut in their face, now they're applying for jobs and they get getting told, sorry, you don't have the experience. That typical type of scenario. How do I get that experience then? So that's something that we wanted to try and cut through from it just being a standalone, mentoring platform or anything like that, to try and provide either work experience, ideally work or job placement, safety tools, just safe, boots on the ground sort of safety experience. Those wouldn't otherwise have it. And that's where we connected the two then. So we then have two beneficiaries, our mentees, but then other charities and non-profits that don't have their own in-house health and safety support, their own resources, and obviously budgets are tight as well. So it provides a tangible outcome. So basically the mentee would be doing high-level tasks such as policies or risk assessments with the support of their mentor, but then it's getting done and actually has a tangible output for the charity as well that obviously has a risk profile like an organisation does. So that was how it's developed. That's one of the key strands that we've got, and there's definitely felt a need for it, and that's what we're looking to try and keep pushing.
Nice. Anything to add to that, Ben?
No, I think I've put that really well. Yeah, and I think it was I think it's exactly that. And I think we floated the ideas grown legs as well, in terms of, like Kev mentioned, about people that be their first choice of career now, which is great, and trying to help those people get into the industry. But I think it's also, we've been looking at other avenues, whether it be sort of your first start or a fresh start. So that's a phrase that we've been banning around, but if it isn't your first choice or it's not your first career, it's a fresh start for, it might be for people leaving the army or, falling on hard times and are looking at other things, different opportunities. So yeah, I think it's, there's lots of different strands, and it's certainly grown legs since we first started talking. So yeah, that's just to add to what Kev said, but that's the idea behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, perfect. And yeah, I mean, so much of what you've just said is I'm sure going to resonate with people. I mean, I get so many messages from people who are, trying to start their career and get a job, and it's like, what can I do? And as you say, that scenario of, I haven't, people want experience, but I haven't got any experience. What can I do to solve that? Is that the sort of core challenge you're trying to overcome, the big problem?
The people that are trying to break into the career in the industry, that's our main target demographic as well. It's not exclusive to that, but it's that kind of emerging talent, early careers, changing careers. And as Ben's already mentioned, people that have served in the armed forces, fallen on hard times. One of our target demographics is people from a lower socioeconomic background as well, so don't have that existing network of people to sort of lean onto. So hence that whole kind of concept of trying to provide that safety net for people, that we're there when they need us, ad hoc support, but ongoing structured support as well. And that's a big driver of it. But it's maybe, and as Ben's already said, we'd like to use that first start or a fresh start or the first rung on the ladder or maybe the next one up. We don't want to be being too niche and being too exclusive with the target markets with it. We're there to help people, and that's what we want to try and do. It's just raising that awareness for it, really.
Yeah. No, makes good sense. And just to say, obviously, any questions, comments, if you're on the Zoom, just go to reactions, raise your hand, and the guys will be happy to answer questions or have a chat with you about anything to do with this topic. I'm absolutely sure. Is that a problem that you guys suffered with when you were breaking in? Is getting your first start, and do you think if this existed then it would have made life much easier for you?
Yeah, I think just from a personal experience, for me, there's obviously structured mentoring programs that are out there as well, but if you don't know about it, you don't know where to find it in the first place. So I was lucky enough to be given an opportunity at a local health and safety consultancy. So that's how I got sort of cut my teeth on it and thrown in the deep end. But a lot of my stuff, my qualifications, my experience, so qualifications were self-funded. It was a leap of faith, really. I was 26 at the time, so I just felt that I was in an industry that wasn't really a future in it, and really sort of took a punt on it. But it was with no support or guidance or any insights that I could gain. So I then, as I was moving through the industry and working through my career, I then started speaking to people and finding out about things. But at that initial sort of transition into it, there wasn't really anything there. So if I can, and our main thing is trying to pay it forward, and try and give back. That's a big part of it for me personally.
Yeah, and I probably didn't have the same struggles in terms of getting into health and safety, but ultimately I was just very fortunate that my manager the manager at the time at that company, he sort of essentially just took a punt on me and was like, okay, we like this, let's give it a go and sort of see what happens. So it wasn't. So I'll be forever grateful for that, because without that opportunity or someone taking that chance, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't have the career I have. So it was sort of right place, right time, fortunately for me. But like Kev said, being able to then pass on what I've learned from that, and like Kev said, networks we've been able to build and everything else, it's been able to then put that out there and give other people the opportunities that I was given. And if we can do that, then we're on to a winner.
Yeah, absolutely. No, fantastic. So you mentioned sort of more formal mentoring schemes. What is it that makes the Safety Net Foundation different to those? And I'm assuming that you kind of would feel that it sits alongside and it's not trying to replace anything that's already there.
Yeah, exactly that. There's obviously all of the professional membership organisations that everyone is aware of. It's there as an alternative, really. But what sets us, or what we're trying to set ourselves up apart with, is that it's much more of a focus on the soft skills as well. It's not so much of a rigid or a structured approach. We want it to be tailored much more around the individual. What is it they're looking to get out of it, and to be led by where we're hoping to pair people up with that relatable experience as well. So maybe the people that have suffered the same kind of challenges, whether it's just, it's all the other stuff as well. It's imposter syndrome, it's unconscious bias, it's accent bias, it's whatever it might be. People from that working class background that feel like they don't belong. So how do I then try to achieve that stakeholder buy-in? And you hear all those kind of buzzwords like that, but then what does that mean? How did you encounter that issue? How did you get over that issue? Confrontational things as well. Anyone that's worked in construction safety, if you're trying to win over a site manager, or you get those difficult situations like that, to try and cut through it a little bit. but what did you actually say? What sort of tone and use of language, and some of those softer skills where people have lived it and breathed it and done it, and then have that opportunity now, hopefully through our platform, to give that back and share that. So it's that kind of softer skills or relatability, I would say, that from the mentoring side of it is where we'd like to set ourselves apart. And Ben, I don't know if you want to add, just like the other stuff as well. Obviously, that's not just what we're about, is it?
No, it's not. But I think the soft skills part is a big part of it. It's in a previous role, I've a lot of my role focused heavily on sort of business development, but again, I think it's being able to talk to people about that, how networking or presenting, because it's not something that you necessarily get taught to do. One day someone just says to you, right, here's a presentation, I need you to do it, and you're sort of like, right, okay, great. What do I do now? And they give you a PowerPoint, and you just have to roll with it. And it's sort of those experiences and things that I've learned and things that we've learned from those scenarios that we can hopefully help with other people. And it's sort of being able to take a step back, like Kev mentioned as well, is technical skills and technical knowledge you can learn. You can learn that, right? But developing soft skills and being comfortable in yourself and being able to sit in an interview and talk about transferable skills that you might have, but being able to apply it to the role that you're applying for is something that's a bit harder to do, I believe. So it's just being able to guide people in that sense. And we've started looking at interview guides for people that we've been helping people with and sharing. So yeah, it's sort of all of that and more, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly that. Got the mentoring side of it, and then, like we said, the other strand is the helping of other non-profits and charities as well with tangible outcomes. And then we're conscious of there being different ways that people can receive information from us as well. So eventually we'll just be developing things like newsletters and webinars. We've had a roundtable for construction CDM, trying to get peers from the industry involved with that. So a big part of it as well is that representation piece as well, allowing people to have that platform and that voice and making those connections and networks and joining the dots like that as well. So there's lots of stuff in the pipeline like that. And as you can imagine, a lot of spinning plates, a lot of time that goes along with it. So we make sure we want to get it right. That's the key piece.
No, absolutely. I do think that sort of focus on the soft skills is really valuable. As you say, there's lots of courses and training you can do to build those technical skills, which clearly are very, very important. But as you guys said, presenting internally, presenting externally, even just getting a job in the first place, having the confidence and the ability to present yourself and put across ideas and all that sort of stuff doesn't come naturally to everybody. And I do think that is a good gap that you're looking to fill, where perhaps what's out there already is not maybe doing such a good job in that area.
Yeah, look, and this is the thing, and there's I think there's a place for it, and there's a place for all of it, and we just want to provide that other option there for people. But for them to feel like they're empowered as well to be in control of their own career path and journey a little bit more. And I think, just slightly as an aside, when you've had this, you're focusing on the soft skills and stuff like that. Quite often it's I think it's trying to identify what people's own strengths are as well. And quite often it's people, there might be a narrative that we need to try and turn our weaknesses into strengths as well. And I think sometimes it's just being able to be authentic and owning what our strengths are. That's what sets us apart. That's what we're good at. And then maybe trying to get our weaknesses to the point of competence. Maybe they're never going to be your strengths. That's why they're a weakness in the first place. So it's just owning that. We're all, and I think it's just that authenticity with it, that someone who's a bit more further down the road, experience-wise, to be paired up with someone as a mentor to help that person identify that and stay true to themselves.
Yeah. Makes good sense. So is the foundation a charity? Is it going to be a charity? Have you registered yet? What's the kind of status of that?
So the original plan was to become a registered charity. We submitted our application to become a CIO. unfortunately, after 16 weeks of waiting, actually a bit longer than I think it was near sort of 18 weeks, we were told no. So unfortunately, we didn't get to register as a charity, but we had a plan B, which, you know, being the good organised health and safety professionals that we are, we had a plan B, which was to become a CIC, which so we're a registered community interest company now. So we're not non-for-profit social enterprise, and we've been registered for that probably I'm going to say about a month now, coming up maybe 3 or 4 weeks. So we've managed to get that, which still allows us to do everything that we wanted to do. But yeah, plan A didn't come to fruition, but we are registered now as a CIC, so fully functioning and fully operational, which is great.
Nice. And I mean, I don't know enough about this to answer this question, so I'll ask you: does that mean that you're going to stay like that, or is there a chance of sort of morphing into a charity at some point? And is that the plan? Or
Well, to be honest, we looked at it anyway, and we was weighing up the options, and it helps us. There are less constraints from a geographical perspective as well. But the impact that we can try and have, it's still governed anyway. But in terms of funding, in terms of, it's still a non-profit. It's just a community interest company, and in some ways as well, it almost kind of helps our narrative of, sometimes people that we're trying to support, plan A doesn't always go to plan, and sometimes plan B works out better. But there is that option. Basically, we didn't have the opportunity to provide any kind of precedence of trading or what we're looking to do in terms of impact. So we will have that hopefully over the coming years. So if we choose to go down that CIO route, we can. But as I say, in terms of that not-for-profit status, and organisations that may want to work with us in the future and anything like that, it doesn't impact any of that. And it hasn't been public knowledge really either as well. Because we waited long enough, we thought for the sake of another couple of weeks, this is a good platform to be able to do that as well. So it's officially, for the avoidance of any ambiguity, it's properly official. No longer an idea, it's a real thing, it's an entity now.
Yeah.
good stuff. Question here in the chat. Given your recently formed quite new organisation, how are you going to be able to get people to trust you to bring them on that journey, get the training, the culture, mentorship, as a new organisation? Any thoughts on how you're going to approach that?
Well, to be honest, we've had a lot of requests for support already as well. So it's just a case that, like it is anything, and as we started off with our own journeys, there's that element of a leap of faith with it. But we've been working with people that we've already known, and existing contacts and relationships that have been there as well. Because it's one of those things that we would like other people to do the talking for us. We're not going to be putting any kind of sales spiel on anything. It's literally, we want to be there for the benefit of our health and safety community, the aspiring professionals coming through, and really hope that will come through in that. And we have been, fortunate enough to have some existing relationships, as I say, that has helped that a little bit as well. So hopefully that goes some way to answering that question a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyone who reaches out, we always endeavour to have Kev and I have been having lots of team calls, in the evenings after work, and in lunch hours where we can to sort of, again, to just sort of tell people what we're doing, and then hopefully build that trust through talking and then seeing how we can help. And hopefully the proof's in the pudding that once we've had those calls, it then builds from there. So great question.
Yeah, perfect. There's been a comment here on LinkedIn, from Sarah Jane. My husband is trying to change careers, 23 years as a firefighter, and is looking to move into building safety and fire safety. Been in the fire industry since 18, but struggling with CV interviews, so it's not easy. So a live example, real life example.
Yeah, exactly that. And a big part of it as well is something, and it's not an overnight fix whatsoever, but it's the people that are sitting the other side of the table. It's the people that are conducting the interview. We want to try and work through that if we can as well. There are a lot of people out there that have a lot to offer, transferable skills, experience that could be, a professional in their primary career, whatever it is, and they are choosing to go in a different direction, and it's trying to help remove those maybe preconceptions and that unconscious bias or whatever it might be, because it still happens and it's a big problem, and everything around social mobility. But there's a lot that people have got to give, and it's trying to break through that a little bit as well. So just one of many things we're trying to look at, and we've been helping with putting together some resource guides for interview guides, not only for the candidate but also for the interviewer, because there's learnings for both sides of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So are you, obviously we've said it's relatively new. Are you sort of up and running in terms of, are you actually helping people already with some of this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In terms of, we've tried to just keep things sensible in terms of workload and stuff like that, but we've got an initial cohort of mentees already, probably maybe even 5 or 6 now, that we're going to be looking to pair up. So we're in the process of speaking with a few mentors at the moment and going through kind of a bit of an onboarding process with them, because the key thing is our mentees' experience that they have, in terms of it being a standardized approach, very, very kind of values driven and everything like that. And there's anyone that would have seen our values already, things like no such thing as a stupid question. We want to provide that safe space, basically, but we want that to be very much part of the DNA, how we go about things. So there's a few people like that, but informally, we've already been working with people as well. And we mentioned those interview guides. There's been a couple of people with one of our recruitment partners that we're already working with. We've helped those already, and we've played a part in those landing in their own roles as well. So some of it's kind of ad hoc. Sometimes it's just joining the dots and making introductions as well. So our involvement can be light touch sometimes, but we just want to be seen as that go-to place, because we've got a lot of existing connections and partnerships and collaborations that we've been developing over the last few months, and from existing contacts as well. So yeah, very much what we've been able to do, we have been doing, and then just building it up, and hopefully to then kick off in the new year with a bit more from the mentoring side of things as well. But yeah, absolutely. It was pleased to say we have been helping people already, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, which has been great. And I think that's it, right? Is even at the beginning when we started talking about it, we said, even if we help one person, it's not mission complete, but it's a big step, and that's all we're there trying to do, is just anyone who's got questions, like the comment from LinkedIn there from Sarah, if her husband wants to drop us a message or reach out, we're more than happy to help and talk to people, and that's ultimately, in its simplest form, all we're looking to do. And then, like Kev said, if it means we can get involved a bit more and we end up pairing someone with a mentor, great. Or if it's just signposting and pointing people in the right direction, or a conversation with someone else that we might know, then yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, fantastic. And Ben, you can answer this one first. How are you guys doing at sort of balancing your own lives? Because obviously you've got jobs and you're taking on this massive project in your spare time, it sounds like. How are you navigating that?
I don't want to say easily, because it would be a huge lie, but Kev and I have worked together. We're both very organized, which is great. I think it's sort of just taking it each day as it comes, and a step at a time. I think once you just start doing something like this, it's very easy to lose yourself in the idea and the sort of the nice stuff, and this is what we want to do. But it's just sort of, I suppose it's just sort of taking that approach that we sort of take through work, and just step at a time, being methodical, that sort of stuff, and just talking with each other. I think that's a huge part of it, is we sort of communicate every day, but it's also checking in on each other. Like, are you okay? Have you got too much on? If not, I'll pick up the slack, or I'll take the reins for a bit. It's just, that the big buzzword that we all know, collaboration, but it's essentially that. Just talk to each other. We all know what we're doing, and we've also got a huge support network behind us. We've had lots of people get on board. It's very easy for Kevin and I to sit here and take all the credit, but without the people that are supporting us, yourself having us on, and all the people that have volunteered and have got on board, then we wouldn't be able to do it. So it's a balancing act, but somehow we're sort of making it work, which is which is great. Yeah.
That's good. It's not easy. I mean, it's like setting up a business, isn't it? It's basically what it is, and doing that as a kind of a side hustle is I've never done it that way, but I can only imagine it's so draining. But I guess the great thing about this, and I'm sure anyone else who's got their own business related to anything to do with safety would feel this as well. And it certainly is what keeps me going, is that you're doing something positive and you're giving back and you're helping the world be better in a sense, and therefore that's what keeps you pushing forward on the tough days.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
exactly that. And I think to add to what Ben said as well, I mean, we're lucky that with what we're trying to set up, we've set it up to be quite agile as well in nature, and that people will have that autonomy. We're lucky enough, we've probably got a core team already of about 10 people, so our social media side of things, there's 3 people involved in that at the moment. Because the last thing we want it to be is nothing can happen unless there's it all kind of bottlenecks and it's micromanaged, anything like that. It's absolutely not what we want it to be. And we've been trying to give people experience as well that wouldn't otherwise have that experience. We've had people that have tried to, like our social media coordinator at the moment, Mile, where he's been brilliant, and he's trying to develop a portfolio of work for that, and he's been with us virtually from day one, to be fair. And there's never anything that you do on your own, and it's always a team effort like that. But in terms of the impact, and it's portions of time and that effort that we give, it's portions of time like this, and obviously then you've got elements of evenings and weekends and stuff like that. But it is those when someone comes back and says, I just want to let you know that I've got a job. Thank you so much for that your contribution that you made to it. That's really what it's about. So you can get bogged down with the governance and the admin stuff and all that kind of thing, but that's just what you have to do in order to make it work. But yeah, it's definitely that's what the whole point of doing it in the first place. So yeah, if you can make that difference.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Fantastic. Quite a few people are asking about where to find more information. We'll give all of that at the end for sure. And when this goes out as a podcast episode, it'll have the links and stuff in the show notes. We'll get into that a bit more now. With you mentioned, there's obviously being a mentor, there's being a mentee, there's being a recruiter, there's doing interviews, lots of different ways that this can affect people, and therefore ways that people can get involved. But I mean, who are you really looking to get involved now, and what's the best way for them to do that?
No, that's a great one. So I think there's a few elements that kind of overlap and that we need. So for instance, a constant pipeline of charity connections, in order for us to be able to do like a risk profiling call and have discover some have some nice discovery phone calls basically with other charities that we can then effectively, like we would do when me and Ben work together in health and safety consultancy, you kind of triaging and sort of understanding what the gaps might be within an organisation. The difference being that they won't be paying for it. It's pro bono support that they'll be getting through the foundation, and hopefully pairing them up with a volunteer that can that these mentees that can do that support. So it's anyone that has those kind of charity connections, maybe people that already work or are involved with charities directly or non-directly, that we can be put in touch with. So then we can have those conversations and generate that pipeline of contact that way. Obviously, the individuals, mentees that are looking for help, mentors, but quite often as well, we've had conversations with mentees that they've got something to give because we want to know what their experience is, what they're currently facing, and they can share their stories, and we can turn those into case studies as well. So we can share much more of that. So it isn't singular as well, even from anyone's what they think where they might be able to pitch it. And obviously a big part of it as well. We've had a lot of support with a few organisations already in terms of collaborative partnerships and stuff like that. And that goodwill that they've extended has been phenomenal. But obviously, as a non-profit, as any kind of organisation, you can't run on that alone as much as we'd all love that to be. So a big part of it would be as well our corporate partners that we like to develop. So we've got like a monthly membership model that we've started. It starts from £50 a month, and it goes up in terms of tiers and how much that exposure and support and collaboration that we can give back through our platform as it grows as well. So especially interested in speaking with health and safety consultancies, construction companies, companies that maybe work in high risk environments that, really want to demonstrate and partner, maybe nominate as a nominated charity partner, to try and support the next generation of safety professionals. So yeah, there's some key ones. I have missed one or two there, Ben. I can't.
No, I think that's it for the minute. Yeah, yeah, that's the main. They're the main focuses at the minute, because it's about helping the charities, providing
just general volunteers as well.
And general volunteers. Yeah, that was going to be the only one. Yeah, so we've got some roles and positions that we sort of need help with. Well, not sort of, we do, because we can't do it all. So yeah, we'd like to hear from anyone really on any of those points. So that's how you can sort of get involved and how. Yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, call out to everybody that's joining us today. Think about how you could best support this as a concept, and give some time, effort, bit of cash, whatever it might be. All of it would be definitely appreciated. One question here in the chat is about recruitment agencies. So it's a kind of a comment and a question. So I'm finding it's not just employers who can't see the transferable skills when just starting out. It's also the recruitment agencies who seem to have very high expectations of applicants with regards to skills, experience, qualifications, etc. And then it's hard to even get shortlisted for an interview. So I think you are working with one recruitment company. Is the plan to broaden that out, and any comments on that as a potential blockage?
Yeah, we've got one primary partner, and we're working with one or two others at the moment, and we're trying to align with the ones that have our same vision with it as well, where it does try and cut through that, because like we said, it's and I think what I would say as well, I think in the wider recruitment industry, quite often they're led by their clients, obviously, and the clients have certain expectations, and everyone's trying to trade and do business, and they want to add clients to their books, then they'll try and work within the expectations that their client has. So they're asking for certain things, but it can only work by that raising the awareness and the education, and everyone having a lot more of an understanding of, let's look beyond what's in black and white a little bit more, look at the person behind that, try and provide that opportunity a little bit more. So that's just one of many strands that we want to try and explore as well. But it is absolutely a valid question, and part of something that we want to try and contribute to.
Yeah. Perfect. Last few questions coming up from me. So if anybody does have any other questions, fire them into the chat, or if you're feeling brave, you can come and ask a question by raising your hand if you're on Zoom. So if we think about the future, if we start looking 5 years down the line, kind of what's the vision for where the organization is going to be, and what kind of impact do you hope that the foundation will have had in 5 years' time on the health and safety profession? Maybe you could do one each of those.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I probably similar. Hopefully it's the same for Kev, but for me, it's just going to be a positive and lasting impact. Really, it's there to provide, like we've mentioned all throughout, sort of like an alternative, platform, sounding board, whatever it might be, for anyone who's looking for that first start or a fresh start. And yeah, we've spoken about this and spoken about it with my wife, but just to have a lasting and positive impact on the industry, and help people get into the careers that they want, and then help them plan the careers that they want to have. Like we've said, it's about them and what they want, and not, just providing that safe space and platform to do it. That's it in a nutshell for me. It's quite simple.
I think there's a bigger gauge as well. I think we're all aware of the skill shortage that's coming over the next sort of 3 to 5 to 10 years in construction in particular. But for us, a key part of it is that it's people focused, and it's people to be empowered to know what's available to them, so they can make the best informed decisions for their own career paths. But we're not precious about it. It's people's own careers. But it's that safety doesn't even have to be the final destination. These people might go on into quality environmental sustainability, quality roles, into construction project management roles, whatever it might be. And it's just by opening those doors and helping people be as best informed as they can be. So trying to address and be a part of that, because there has to be a lot more collaborative working across the industry to try and get more people into the built environment, construction in particular. But we have an aging workforce, anyway. So it's definitely something to try and help people come into industry and be, as much more of an awareness to that, of what's available to them, because it's a great career to have. If you can find the right place for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if we use a bit of crystal ball gazing, let's say we invite you back on for another safety roundtable in December of 2030, so 5 years in, what does the organisation look like, and what would be some of the kind of key successes or key milestones that you've kind of gone through and succeeded with?
Well, I think even very short term, a big thing that we're looking at the moment is developing through our website. So we're trying to get some funding for that at the moment, to try and have an interactive CPD login system, a mentoring platform that all goes through there, members login, community forum. So it's something that's kind of tangible that people can own, and they can create their career path at that as well. So just in terms of some of the short-term stuff like that and what that kind of looks like. But then also medium to long-term as well. Another big thing that we'd like to develop into is to help people and actually help fund or contribute towards qualifications as well for those people that we're working, and we're having early conversations at the moment, just as an example, with a homelessness charity, where they provide a fixed address for people and try and get them their sort of fresh start that way. So if we can help with even entry level qualifications and helping just to fund that, because they're constantly getting barriers and doors shut in their face. So it's having much more of an offering like that with certain things like that. And I think across different industries as well. Predominantly we've started with construction because that's our background, but to have industry representation a lot more, and then trying to have a bit more of a united voice with that, and to hopefully be seen as one of the, if not the go-to organisation for anyone that's discovering health and safety for a first career as a younger person, people looking to change careers, and our sort of target markets like that. So both known universally by recruitment agencies, construction companies, hopefully being seen as some kind of feeder company almost for these health and safety organisations and businesses that have large health and safety diverse teams as well. So I think it's trying to put our mark on the UK with it, and hopefully we're going to be here to stay and to be, have that reputation that's built with that, and hopefully, like we said earlier on, that people can do the talking for us as well, that we've played our part, and that's just really one of the big overriding factors for me personally. I like to say at the end, when my time's done, that I've done my bit, and I think it's that paying it forward for everyone.
Yeah. No, I love that. Ben, what would be one message that you want someone to take away from this conversation, and I guess the step that you'd like them to take as well?
I think for me, someone's actually mentioned it in the chat, I think, about our values, and I think if it's one thing, it's to just sort of go away with that and our vision and mission. It's, we're here to help people. We're here to provide that platform and sounding board for anyone who has any questions about health and safety careers, whether it be your first start or the fresh start. It's just that, just know that we're here and know that we want to help, and if we can, we will. And I think that's it really. Take a look at our website, look at the values, see what we're about, and just know that we're here to help and assist in any way that we can.
Fantastic. So give us Kev, give us the website URL, give us the social media, give us the anything else you want to plug, anything that we can do to give people that next step before we wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So our website is the safetynetfoundation.co.uk, where we have downloadable registration forms on there as well for our if you want to be a mentee or a mentor. There's links on there as well for any charity partners, potential partners out there would like to know more information, a general contacts page anyway. But the majority of our communications comes out on our LinkedIn page. So we're the Safety Net Foundation on there. And we've got especially this month as well, we've got a mixture of a bit of fun stuff in terms of content going out, just have a nice soft end to the year. But that's where all of our key updates go around. And for anyone that's interested in specific volunteering roles, if anyone's aware of the platform called Reach Volunteering, we've actually got 4 or 5 key vacancies on there at the moment for such as things as fundraising and stuff like that. But yeah, LinkedIn is the main one. That's where most of our comms goes through. And it's also on Instagram, I believe, as well. I'm not an Insta user as much myself, but I've been told it's very good.
Very good, very good, very good. Well, thank you so much, guys. I really was keen to get you on and to try and help you on this journey, because I think it's a really valuable and fantastic thing that you're doing. So, wishing you very much all the best with it. And if you've joined us today, or you're watching this back or listening to this back, then do consider what you can take away from this in terms of getting involved in supporting the guys on this mission. And I'm sure we can all work together and make a positive impact in this area, which, as we did discuss, is a problem, and one that would, if we could solve it, would be helpful to us all in our professional careers, but also to the world at large. So yeah, do support the guys. So yeah, thanks, Kev. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone who joined. We appreciate it.
Yeah, great stuff. Right, thanks everybody. See you again in a couple of weeks. I'm going to do a legal update, health and safety legal update for 2026. So look forward to seeing you on the 17th of December for that. Cheers all.
Thanks for joining us on the Safety and Risk Success podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please hit follow and do share on social media. Does anyone you know spring to mind as a great guest, even yourself? If so, please contact us on podcast@slipsafety.co.uk. See you next week for another episode.